प्रियतनया ईश्वर अम्बा प्रियतनया नमन करूं गुरुचरणं गुरुचरणं सद्गुरुचरणं नमन करूं गुरुचरणं गुरुचरणं प्रणवानन्दा आनन्दचन्दा प्रणवानन्दा आनन्दचन्दा स्वामी गुरु मम गुरु सच्चिदानन्दा स्वामी गुरु मम गुरु सच्चिदानन्दा नमन करूं गुरुचरणं गुरुचरणं Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Let's start.
Hari Om and Jai Hind.
We chant from
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om. We start with the invocation first. Om.
Hari.
प्रातस्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वम् सच्चित्सुखं परमं सगतिं तुरीयम् यत्स्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवेति नित्यं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः अपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणाम् मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते बोधोऽन्यसाधनेभ्यो हि साक्षान्मोक्षैकसाधनम् आतस्य वह्निवज्ञानम् विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति We'll chant from verses 16 to 20 of chapter 12. अनपेक्षशुचिर्दक्षः उदासीनो गतव्यथः सर्वारम्भपरित्यागी यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः अनपेक्षशुचिर्दक्षः उदासीनो गतव्यथः सर्वारम्भपरित्यागी यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः यो न हृष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न काङ्क्षति शुभाशुभपरित्यागी भक्तिमान्यः स मे प्रियः यो न हृष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न काङ्क्षति शुभाशुभपरित्यागी भक्तिमान्यः स मे प्रियः समशत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु समसङ्गविवर्जितः समशत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु समसङ्गविवर्जितः तुल्यनिन्दास्तुतेर्मौनी सन्तुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतस्थिरमतिः भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः तुल्यनिन्दास्तुतेर्मौनी सन्तुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतस्थिरमतिः भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः ये तु धर्म्यामृतमिदं यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्दधाना मत्परमाः भक्तास्तेतीव मे प्रियाः ये तु धर्म्यामृतमिदं यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्दधाना मत्परमाः भक्तास्तेतीव मे प्रियाः Hari Om. Today is Independence Day, a wonderful day for our nation, a day where we all feel a sense of pride and gratitude for the independence we enjoy, a day we pay homage to the innumerable people who work towards liberating our country, a day we also reflect on our own independence. This country got independent only after so many efforts from so many quarters to remove the colonizers. So, independence is got through utmost effort. That's a reminder we have to keep at the back of our mind. Are you independent? Are you free? It's worth reflecting about. I don't mean to make you feel depressed on such a beautiful day. Uh, this is not to make your shoulders droop. At least one day I get to celebrate independence. But it's worth reflecting about. Are you truly independent? To what extent are you independent? All human beings are seeking freedom, are seeking complete independence, even though we don't know it. Seeking complete freedom, but we don't know how to get it. And in the journey for freedom, we've developed what is called what is Stockholm syndrome? You know what is Stockholm syndrome? Anyone? Anybody? Stockholm syndrome? Are you able to?
When you get attached to your, captor, right? The person who's kept you hostage.
Stockholm syndrome is, again, it came from the kidnapping in Stockholm. I don't know exactly what the incident was. I've read about it, but I've forgotten. Where you develop a sense of affinity, a sense of emotion, a connection, an attachment with he who colonizes you. See, I won't call it Stockholm syndrome. I don't know, but there was I was watching that. Everybody should watch that documentary on Veerappan. Beautifully made documentary on Netflix. You must be thinking how much time I have. I always watch all these things, beforehand. I have a lot of time. So the documentary on Veerappan, and in there they showed that Veerappan had kidnapped one of the biggest stars of South India, of Kannada cinema, Rajkumar, for 150 days. And after 150 days, when he's releasing him, they are both hugging. Rajkumar is saying, "Nothing will ever touch you. Nothing will ever damage you." Rajkumar is expressing that maybe he found some identification with Veerappan's ideals, or whatever. But Stockholm syndrome is a broader phenomenon where you develop a sense of attachment to that which holds you hostage, that which colonizes you, and almost to a point of overlooking its faults, overlooking its trespasses, overlooking its what they have committed, the crimes they have committed. We all suffer from Stockholm syndrome. Huh? We all suffer from Stockholm syndrome. This ego, this mind has colonized us. अपना झंडा गाड़ दिया है इस ईगो ने, and completely taken over us. We are slave to our egos, we are slave to our desires, we are slave to our minds, our monkey mind. And if we ever talk about eliminating the ego, if we ever talk about transcending the mind, if we ever talk about eliminating the mind's desires, what happens? We become defensive. No, the mind is the mind. No, it's only natural for the mind to be like this. We start treating it with a sense of affection. The affinity you have for your ego, for your mind and its desires, to the extent of justifying your attachments, justifying your own slavery. But the journey is a fun one. Realizing that you have Stockholm syndrome is part of the game, it's part of the play. So don't be dejected. One thing to feel reassured about is everyone has Stockholm syndrome. You're not the only one. Everyone has Stockholm syndrome, speaker included. But to gain true independence, not only from external circumstances. Imagine if external freedom is so liberating, what will internal freedom be like? Imagine. We only ask you to imagine. We only ask you to be honest with yourself and look within. What is keeping you shackled? You have to develop what is called mumukshatva on this journey. Without mumukshatva, there's no spiritual journey. Without mumukshatva, you are just an ordinary person living in the ordinary mundane life. You need the spiritual balm every now and then. That's about it. But to make any progress on this journey, to cover any distance, you have to develop what is called mumukshatva. Mumukshatva is the desire for liberation, the desire for freedom, the desire for independence. So long as we think, no, we are okay. So long as we think that I need to fix a few things, but not too much. Mota moti, I am okay. I have control over my life. I know what I want. I know what I'm doing. No concept of liberation. You will desire liberation only when you realize that you are shackled. You will desire liberation only when you realize that you are imprisoned, that you are captive. If you don't think you are captive, what liberation? So on this Independence Day, let us reflect on our own independence. To be independent truly is your birthright. To gain that transcendence from your own mind and its attachments, from your own ego and its fears, is your birthright. And you can do it. You are capable of it. So, with that thought, we'll continue our discussion on the 35 qualities of a bhakta, a devotee of the Lord. And we had covered up till verse 16, verse number 17. We'll chant it and then we'll discuss it. Yo na rishyati na dveshti, na shochati na kankshati, shubha shubha parityagi, bhaktimanya same priyah. Yo na rishyati na dveshti, na shochati na kankshati, shubha shubha parityagi, bhaktimanya same priyah. Once again, bhaktimanya same priyah. Such a bhakta is dear to me. Such a devotee full of devotion is dear to me. Who? Who has these qualities? Which are they? Neither rejoices nor hates, nor grieves nor desires. Na rishyati, na dveshti, na shochati, na kankshati. No desire, no hate, no grief, no rejoicing. See, on the if you read through this the first time or without any insight, you'll think what a boring fellow the bhakta is. Yeah. मजा के समय तो मजा आना चाहिए ना. At least he should rejoice. I can understand that he doesn't hate, he doesn't grieve, and इतना बार आपने सुना दिया है तो I understand now what he shouldn't desire. But what is this? Doesn't rejoice also? Boring fellow. If you're playing Ludo with your child and you win, do you rejoice? You throw a party. Do you post about it? Suppose you see a bunch of kids playing cricket. That happens with me. I'm in that funny age now where when I go out, kids are confused whether to call me bhaiya or uncle. I get very upset. So when I walk my dogs in the evening, the other day, someone called me uncle. I was like, you called me uncle? And they were playing cricket. I said, you have to punishment now. So they were like, what punishment? I said, you all have to bowl 20 balls to me. I took their bat. I said, no more cricket. Now you bowl to me. And I had a lot of fun because every ball they bowled, I whacked it and I made them run around and chase the ball. That was their punishment for calling me uncle. Is it something to rejoice? I smashed the ball or I probably won the cricket match against them. Is there anything to rejoice? See, this concept of rejoice is a state of upliftment. You, when you're in a low state and you experience something of your liking or of something something that's favorable, that's when you rejoice. That's when you have a sense of joy. जब कोई कामना पूरी होती है, कामना जब तक पूरी नहीं हो तब तक आप थोड़ा धीमे धीमे हो. जब कामना पूरी होती है तो यू रिजॉइस. और जब कामना ना हो तो when there's no desire, you're already in a state of joy. You're already in a realm of joy. This realm of worldly joy cannot elevate your state, cannot take away from it. A bhakta looks at the world and all it has to offer like an adult looks at a child, looks at a playground. The adult is already in a realm of joy. It's a different realm of joy. It's not a difference in degree, it's a different in kind. The kind of joy itself, the kind of joy of maturity is totally different from the pleasures of a child. So, whatever happens in the child world, the adult doesn't rejoice, the adult doesn't hate, the adult doesn't grieve, the adult doesn't have a longing or a desire. An adult has grown above it. Similarly, a bhakta has grown above it, whatever the world can offer: name, fame, power, position, pleasure, family, whatever. See, he's describing the inner condition of a bhakta. He's describing the inner condition. This is not for you to outwardly say, I am just an adult. All these childish pleasures, they don't entice me. No. This is an inner state. Outwardly, you may be playing your part, participating. Uh, Sometimes you have to show a little extra joy, sometimes you have to show a little less joy. In fact, in fact, you reach a state of objectivity. You reach a state of objectivity where your mind continues to rejoice, your mind continues to grieve, your mind continues to desire. You are simply separate from your mind. That is called Sakshi Bhav. So your mind continues to feel these emotions because your mind belongs to the world, or part of your mind belongs to the world. But that part of you which has grown up is just watching it. It neither identifies with the joys of the mind nor the sorrows of the mind. You watch your own mind. That's the inner state of a bhakta. He's not pretending. He's Sakshi. He's not pretending. Whether something is given, whether something is taken away. Na rishyati, na dveshti, na shochati, na kankshati. Renouncer of good and evil, Shubh Ashubha Parityagi. Shubh Ashubha Parityagi. The human mind is constantly engrossed in good and evil, constantly engrossed in ups and downs, constantly engrossed in what is called Shubh and Ashubh. We chase Shubh, we run away from Ashubh. A bhakta is one who realizes Shubh and Ashubh are a part and parcel of the world. Neither do they chase what is Shubh, nor do they run away from what is Ashubh. They have surrendered their lives unto the altar of God and accept whatever they receive, accept whatever circumstances they are made a part of with utmost grace, with utmost gratitude. They're able to draw honey from a weed. It's a beautiful saying: those who truth and wisdom lead can draw honey from a weed. even from an negative circumstance, from an unpleasant circumstance, they're able to learn something, they're able to grow, they're able to pick out the silver lining. They have that sense of surrender, that detachment. Such a bhakta is dear to me. One who has these five qualities, neither rejoices, nor hates, nor grieves, nor desires. One who is above Shubh and Ashubh. And he continues in verse number 18. Samashatrau cha mitre cha तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखेषु समसङ्गविवर्जितः समशत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखेषु समसङ्गविवर्जितः. Alike to friend and foe, sama shatrau cha mitre, alike to friend and foe, also man apman, also to man and apman, also to honor and dishonor, alike to heat and cold, shitah, shitoshna, heat and cold, sukha dukkheshu, joy and sorrow, samaha, sanga vivarjita, free from all attachments. Jitaha means having gained victory, independence. That's what we talked about. Vivarjit means completely, entirely. Sangha vivarjita, entirely, completely. No speck, not even 1%. Purna Swaraj, complete independence. So, alike to friend and foe, alike to honor and dishonor, alike to heat and cold, alike to joy and sorrow, alike, samabhav. The quality being conveyed is samabhav. Again, you must be thinking, this seems like the quality of a jnani. This seems like the quality of someone who is a intellectual. I thought bhaktas are supposed to be little, flowy. Aren't bhaktas supposed to get completely immersed and go through the ups and downs? That must be the concept of a bhakta. Hare Krishna people will come and then you completely get immersed in the music. It's so beautiful sometimes, especially in the middle of a place like London. There'll be a bunch of Hare Krishna people, then they'll be bringing their drums and everything, and they have it's quite a fun, it's like a riot, wonderful riot in the middle of London. So our concept is the bhakta is supposed to be completely fluid. But here he's talking about having samabhav. The state of equanimity, the state of samatvam. In chapter 2, he says, Samatvam yoga uchyate. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Equanimity is yoga. Whether it's bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, karma yoga, that sense of equanimity, that sense of samabhav is yoga. So, Friend and foe, heat and cold, joy and sorrow, honor and dishonor, all are opposites. One cannot exist without the other. If you don't have foes, you won't have anyone to call friends. If you don't feel cold, you won't have anything to call hot. If you haven't experienced honor or dishonor, you won't know the other. You know one through its opposite. A Bhakta understands the world is nothing but a pair of opposites. It's a relentless flow of the pair of opposites. So alike to friend and foe, how does that feeling come about? How does that feeling come about? When you look at the world simply from your perspective, you will find those, you'll compartmentalize. You compartmentalize people into those who you like or those you don't like. You'll compartmentalize a situation where you are in joy and a situation where you are in sorrow. See, when you are experiencing joy, someone else is experiencing loss, experiencing sorrow. When you are experiencing sorrow, someone else is experiencing joy. For you to make that good trade and earn a lot of money, someone had to buy it, right? Someone had to buy that stock at a high price or something. For you to win the match, someone had to lose. For your child to get in, someone else's child had to lose out on the opportunity. For your business to win the deal, someone else had to lose the deal. For you to win first prize, someone else had to come second. Someone else had to lose. So when you look at the world from a personalized angle, you will always compartmentalize it into what is favorable for you, what is unfavorable for you, what is honorable for you, what is not honorable, what you like versus what you dislike, which are your friends versus which is your foe. The moment you get over this personalized view of the world, you rise above this compartmentalization. Your foe also has friends. Your foe also has a family. Your foe is also a human being with his own needs, her own needs. Your foe is helplessly expressing their nature. Things that make him your foe are only circumstantial. You all have been placed in a situation in life in such a manner that you all stand opposed to each other. That's about it. Maybe you all want the same thing. That's the problem. That's why you all call each other's foes. Circumstantial. When you look at the world from that perspective, automatically half your hatred for your foe will go. Half your obsession for them will go. When you have an attitude of service and sacrifice. See, when you look at the world from the perspective of what can I get, then you will have a preferential treatment for friends who give and a preferential treatment for enemies who take from you. But when you have that spirit of giving, when you have a spirit of service and sacrifice, automatically the boundaries of friend and foe will disappear gradually. The moment you have titiksha, the moment you have that spirit of endurance, the moment you realize all experiences are temporary, automatically you'll treat heat and cold alike. Automatically you'll treat joy and sorrow alike. The moment you understand the famous lines of Shakespeare, reputation is an idle and most false imposition, oft got without merit and lost without deserving. Beautiful lines of Shakespeare. Reputation is an idle and most false imposition, oft got without merit and lost without deserving. When you realize that, what honor, what dishonor? Who is honoring you? Half the people who honor you are honoring you because they want something out of you. That's about it. So long as there is wealth, there is retinue, there is honor. The moment wealth is taken away, the retinue goes. So, what is honor? What is dishonor? In order to live up to in the eyes of people, we compromise so much in our life. The fear of dishonor. Bhakta is not swayed by such fears. They do what is ought to be done, not what will get honor or what will prevent dishonor. That's not even in their minds. Karyam karma. So this alikeness which he's talking about comes through all of this, comes through all this knowledge playing its role inside them. A bhakta also needs knowledge. So this alikeness, this samabhav, is a sum total resultant of knowledge percolating into you. The sum total of knowledge percolating into you creates in you a spirit of detachment, a spirit of objectivity, a sense of samabhav. And samatvam yoga uchyate. Samabhav itself is yoga. That's yoga. This same objectivity, this same knowledge leads you to become entirely free from attachment. Sangha vivarjitaha. Completely free. We have to learn to be very particular. No room for attachment. I remember the words of my dear mother whenever I see this quality. When she visited, and after learning a lot, listening to a long lecture by Swamiji, we were eating dinner with him. And she asked Swamiji, Swamiji, little bit attachment is okay, no? And that's when Swamiji decided maybe it's not working. A little bit attachment is okay, no? We all feel that way. We all feel that way somewhere. Little bit is okay. As long as it's under control, it's okay. Entirely free from attachment. What is attachment? Please remember fundamentals of Vedanta. What is attachment? Two things: sense of mindness and sense of permanence. When you develop that sense of mindness, that possessiveness, and when you begin to hope, expect, think that things will last forever, those are the two pillars of attachment. Sangha. Nothing is yours. You have trustee of everything. A bhakta sees himself as a trustee of everything. Yes, they are responsible for n number of things as trustees, but nothing is theirs. Their only sense of belonging is with the Lord, and everything given unto them is given by the Lord. They treat whatever, whoever in their life from that perspective of responsibility. It's the Lord having given me the responsibility to play my role. I need to play my role and get out, get back to the lotus feet of the Lord. See, there are parables after parables talking about this desire of a devotee to get back to the Lord. Huh? That feeling, that desire to merge back, to be one with the Lord, is the hallmark of a devotee. And the moment you get attached to what is there in the world, you forget the Lord. See, parables after parables. Even for example, um, the Dwarapalikas of Lord Vishnu. It said the Saptarishis came to uh, either the Saptarishis or some of the rishis. I don't know exactly how the parable goes. But some rishis came to meet Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu was relaxing, siesta. He's having his afternoon siesta. Hmm? Sorry? Did you say something?
I said Sanat Kumar. They came.
Oh, was it Sanat Kumar? Okay. I don't think so. I don't think so. Anyway, so Lord Vishnu was having his siesta. So the Dwarapalikas didn't let the rishis go in. So the rishis got enraged. Don't you know who we are? The same Lord who you stop us from visiting. You think you're so close to him. You think you're so special to him. We will curse you. So they cursed the Dwarapalikas with 100 lives on earth. 100 lifetimes. Hmm? So the Dwarapalikas were completely terrified. They said, what have we done? We were only doing our part. We were only doing our duty. So then they went to Lord Vishnu. So the Lord said, okay, now you've already got yourself into this mess. I can't undo it totally, but I can help you. I can help you. He said, you can either have 100 lives as virtuous people in the world. You can have 100 lives as virtuous people in the world, or 3 lifetimes as my biggest enemies. Lord Vishnu tells the Dwarapalikas, you can have 100 lives as great people, people who will be remembered, people who are very virtuous, leaders among people. Or you can have 3 lifetimes as my greatest enemies. Such was the desperation in the Dwarapalikas to come back to the Lord that they said, without a blink of an eye, they said, make us your greatest enemies for 3 lifetimes. At least that will mean that within 3 lifetimes we'll be back. So, as the story goes, one of the incarnations was as Hiranyaksha and what was his brother's name? I forget. Another incarnation was
Hiranyaksh, Hiranyakashipu.
Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakshap, and another one was as Shishupala, right?
Ravan, Kumbhakaran.
And
Ravan, Kumbhakaran.
second one was Ravan and Kumbhakarna. The third one was Shishupala, and I forget the third one. So, point being that desperation in a bhakta is such, it doesn't matter what the world thinks of them. Man apman. That's the extent to which a bhakta will go. Don't care about how the world perceives them. Whatever will get them quicker back to the lotus feet of the Lord, completely free from attachment. So that's the bhavna in bhakti. That's the bhavna in bhakti. And this comes from knowledge. Now, the problem is people read this and say, भगवान कहते हैं हमें शत्रु और मित्र से सम होना चाहिए. भगवान ये नहीं कह रहे हैं कि होना चाहिए, कुछ नहीं कह रहे हैं क्या होना चाहिए. क्या होना चाहिए, what should be or what should not be, you decide. He is just describing what a bhakta is. This is not a should. He's not describing what should be. He's saying, if you're a devotee, this will be your state of mind. You will have this samabhav because of the knowledge percolating into you. Alike to friend and foe, alike to honor and dishonor, alike to heat and cold, alike to joy and sorrow. Completely free from attachment, entirely free. No morsel of attachment. Complete objectivity, complete detachment. And he continues in verse number 19. Tulya nindastu ter mauni santushto yena kenachit aniketa sthira matihi bhaktiman me priyo naraha. Tulya nindastu ter mauni santushto yena kenachit aniketa sthira matihi bhaktiman me priyo naraha. He says, Tulya nindastu ter mauni, to whom tulya and ninda, censure and praise are equal. Tulya nindastu ter mauni. Mauni, silent. Santushta, yena kenachit, content with anything. Aniketaha, homeless. Sthiramatihi, steady minded. Bhaktiman, full of devotion. So, to whom censure and praise are equal, tulya ninda stutihi. It's your ego that lifts you with praise or which offends you with censure. The extent to which you don't have an ego, to that extent you will treat both with grace. See, he's not saying that censure and praise don't matter to such a person. He's saying to whom censure and praise are equal. To whom censure and praise are equal. Totally open to, on one hand, on one level, totally open to constructive criticism. and totally balanced in receiving praise. Sorry, when did I lose you?
So your network is weak since the beginning of the class.
Oh boy,
You
you told me.
just 1 or 2 seconds we lost you.
Okay, give me a second. Let me see if I can. Okay, I hope it is going to be better now. So, to whom censure and praise are equal, one who is graceful in receiving censure, one who is balanced in receiving praise. With that same grace, they receive both criticism as well as praise. It's your ego that usually comes in the way of being dismissive about censure and being exaggerated about praise, expecting praise. In the absence of an ego, you become free from the expectation of praise. You become open to the receipt of criticism. You become balanced in your reaction to both. Alike, same, sambhav. Mauni, silent. Uh, Another pivotal quality. As a bhakta grows on the spiritual journey, they become quiet internally. They become silent. They become more and more observant, less and less reactive. They understand that they have less and less to do with the world. Limit themselves to their roles, the part they play, and don't get involved in unnecessary things. What's not needed, they are happy to eliminate. Ultimately, even bhakti goes from being extrovert to introvert. Bhakti begins with a lot of shosha, fanfare, with a lot of celebration, with a lot of bhajan and kirtan and puja and this and that. That's where bhakti begins. Bhakti concludes in silence. After a point, your deepest prayer is in silence. Silence is both a practice and a destination. Silence is both a practice and a destination. Silence is the destination you reach upon growth. Silence is also a practice. What I mean by practice is you should try it. It's a good exercise. Otherwise, your monkey mind all the time goes on. Chitter, chatter, chitter, chatter, chitter, chatter. Sometimes of the day, just learn to be by yourselves with your own thoughts. No digital distraction, no people distraction, no nothing. Hello, silence, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Anybody heard this beautiful song by Simon and Garfunkel? Hello, silence, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Beautiful song. Content with anything. Santushta yena kena chit. Beginning with, what do you want for lunch? Yena kena anything. Make me anything. Not too many likes or dislikes. Not any expectations from the world. कुछ भी कर लो. Do you want it this way or that way? Anything is fine. Whatever you like. As you grow in your path of devotion, you become completely malleable. Whatever you want. That's why people like devotees. See, takers like givers. Takers like givers. They become best of friends. Bhakta is content with anything, however the other person likes it. The extent to which you have likes or dislikes, to the extent to which you have preferences, to that extent you will be discontent. You'll always want things a certain way, and the world cannot always cater to it. I'm sorry, the world cannot cater to it. This is not about a should or a could. If you have too many likes or dislikes, you will be annoyed, you will be unhappy, you will be troubled, you will be pestered, you will be a burden on others. Sorry to put it bluntly, you'll be a burden on others. But the moment, the extent to which you have eliminated these likes or dislikes, eliminated means gained control over them. You are calling the shots, not your mind. To that extent, you become content with anything. Again, this is another one beautiful exercise also. Learn to say no. Learn to say I'm okay. No thanks. Otherwise, the mind is always thinking about how it can extract that last bit from any situation. It's not content. The mind by nature is never content. Learn to draw a line. This much, not more. The extreme of this is content with anything. Aniketa, homeless. Doesn't mean such a person is roaming around without a house. Homeless means a sense of dispossession, a complete sense of dispossession, no sense of mindness. A home is the most basic thing that you consider as yours, that you have a sense of possessiveness towards. So homelessness is that complete dispassion, complete detachment, complete dispossessiveness. Nothing is mine. You live in your own home with that dispossessive attitude. You live as a guest. Your true home is not in these brick walls. Your true home is at the lotus feet of the Lord. That's how Bhakta sees it. No mindness. I am just a traveler visiting. That's it. Aniketa. Nothing, nowhere in this world is my home. My true home lies beyond. That spirit. Sthiramatihi, steady-minded. On the one hand, we tend to think of Bhakta as very emotional. No. Bhakta is very steady-minded. Yes, the mind is fluid. The mind is has a different expression, but it's not unsteady. It's very clear in the direction it wants. It's very clear in which path it wants for itself. Its expression may be quite extravagant, but the mind is not fickle. The mind is not impulsive. It's very clear in what it wants, in the direction it seeks. It's consistent in its bhakti. So bhakti is not manmani, is what he's saying. Aaj man ye kiya, kal man wo kiya. No, that's not bhakti. Your mind is steady and clear and dedicated in the direction of your spiritual evolution and whatever needs to be done for that purpose. And he concludes in verse number 20. We'll take this verse up very quickly. ये तु धर्म्यामृतमिदं यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्धाना मत्परमाः भक्तास्तेतीव मे प्रियाः ये तु धर्म्यामृतमिदं यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्धाना मत्परमाः भक्तास्तेतीव मे प्रियाः. They indeed who follow this immortal dharma as declared, endowed with Shraddha regarding me as supreme, those devotees are exceedingly dear to me. So, those devotees who follow this immortal dharma that we have been talking about, this entire Bhagavad Gita is giving out this immortal dharma. Sanatana dharma. Those who steadily, with steadfastness, keep themselves on the spiritual journey, endowed with Shraddha, the last two qualities of a devotee, endowed with Shraddha regarding me as supreme. A bhakta has utmost Shraddha. That's the hallmark of a devotee. Shraddha is that capacity to keep at it, to continue something till you reach its conclusion, to finish what you've started. That consistency with which you show up each day, that faith which keeps you going. Consistency of purpose. You are what your Shraddha is. You may have many vasanas, you may have many qualities, but you are what your Shraddha is. You become what your Shraddha is, whatever you are dedicated and consistent in. If you're dedicated and consistent in business, you'll become a businessman. If you're dedicated and consistent in sports, you'll become a sports person. If you're dedicated and consistent in teaching, you'll become a teacher. If you're dedicated and consistent in crying, you'll become a Rundu. That's what you'll become. You are what your Shraddha is. If you're dedicated and consistent on the spiritual journey, you will reach the spirit. Regarding me as supreme, that clarity of life's ultimate goal, life's real purpose, that clarity of where supremacy lies regarding me as supreme means the self as supreme. One who has that clarity, that attaining the self is what matters in life, that's the purpose of life. That clarity of thought of why I am here and what is my purpose. See, many people claim to be devotees and they do lot of puja, part and everything. But the moment it comes to developing this detachment, no. Because in their minds, they have not regarded this as supreme. The extent to which we make this, we gain that conviction of this as the purpose of life, to that extent we are devotees. Otherwise, we're just looking at the Lord to come and solve our problems. That's about it. We are being artahas, those who are distressed and seeking solace. So, bhakta, a true devotee, has that clarity and conviction in life. Attaining moksha, attaining liberation is my purpose. The Atman is supreme, the self is supreme, and that's what I need to realize of. That's what I need to merge with. That clarity. Mat paramaha. All these qualities, one who has all these qualities, such a person is exceedingly, extremely dear to me, close to me. Such a person is on the verge of merging with me, of becoming one with me. Such a person, it's a matter of time before they attain the ultimate. So pick up any one of these 35 qualities, anything that inspires you, and make it your mantra for life. Try to emulate it, make it your goal. Measure your own growth by your progress in that particular virtue. You pick up one or two, everything will grow, everything will rise. And ultimately, you will become exceedingly dear to the Lord. You'll become very dear to the Lord, very close to the Lord. You'll reach your ultimate purpose in life. Om Tat Sad Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Sambade Bhakti Yogo Nama Dvadasho Dhyayaha. And we'll chant the first verse of the chapter to indicate that we are coming back to study it again. We have only had the first reading and we will come back to go deeper in our understanding. Arjuna Uvacha Evam Satata Yukta Ye Bhaktastvam Paryupasate Ye Chapyaksharam Avyaktam Tesham Ke Yoga Vittamaha. And here concludes chapter 12. Next class, we will start with chapter 13. And I'm happy to take up any questions if there are. Rahul, you had your hand up. I don't know if Rahul is still here.
No, that was just for someone who's heard Sound of Silence, the song. It is for that.
Any questions?
You mentioned that every time a person gains happiness, somebody else has to bear pain. Somebody loses, somebody wins. So is it true in every case? All cases? Cannot everyone win at the same time ever?
See, where do you draw the line? For you to enjoy these vegetables also, the entire ecosystem has to be destroyed. Anything you do involves, if you're acutely aware of it, all your enjoyment involves some kind of pain for another. May not be another human being, maybe another creature. And that's the idea of, say, for example, even vegetarianism, or if you go to the extreme of, those who are Jains, right? An acute consciousness of one's impact on the surrounding around them. So the paradox of life is that no, everybody cannot win. Maybe humans can win collectively. I don't know. There may be such a situation, but you might be harming other creatures. Just because it's not visible doesn't mean equality. world peace. In a conference for world peace and equality, you're serving pork ribs. So equality means as far as equality for humans, but what about other creatures? So uh, I'm not advocating anything particularly. All I'm saying is that this is a paradox, and we have to live with it. I don't, at least I don't think of us. I can't think of an terrestrial experience where um, everybody necessarily wins. Hmm. So that's why in everything you enjoy, um, this thought humbles you. Huh? This thought humbles you because you understand that I could be on the other side. Hmm. It fills you with a sense of gratitude. It makes you appreciate, cherish, and also it's a little bit of a detachment. We're not saying don't enjoy. We're not saying don't enjoy. This is a you just need that objectivity. It is what it is. Part of you has to understand you could be on the other side. Yeah. Further questions.
Thank
Sir, in Shloka 20, why it has become Mat Paramaha?
Hmm.
Shloka 20, why it has become Mat Paramaha? Why the halant has come?
Because uh, no, the halant is gone because of the sandhi. See, when the last letter is a, hmm, and when you're before the halant, and then you're merging two words, so the halant goes away, the a stays, right? So because the word is paramaha, so it's simply a removal of the halant to chant it at one straight go. Now, when we break it, we chant it as mat paramaha, the actual word. Does that make sense? See, when you if you look at this, um, this is very helpful. You want to know why certain words are chanted in certain ways, because this is the actual word breakup, right? So in this section you can see the word is mat paramaha. When chanted at one straight go, see, the way we chant it is we break it up into four. There's a way of chanting this verse where you say the entire line at one go. Shraddha mat parama bhaktaste tiva me priyaha. There's no break. But because we, and either because chanting the entire line is difficult for most people, that's why the followed methodology is you break up the line into two parts. So wherever you cause that break, you have to actually say the actual word in chanting. So the actual word is mat paramaha. That's why you say mat paramaha. When you merge it together with the sandhi, the halant disappears, hmm, and becomes mat parama bhakta steti vame priya.
So one more in 16,
Another
you chanted Suchir Dakshaha, but won't it be Suchi Dakshaha?
in 16. No,
You
see here.
chanted Suchir Dakshaha.
Uh-huh. So look, classic example. Here the word is anapekshah shuchihi dakshah, right? But we don't pause at suchihi, right? We don't pause at suchi. We continue. We say anapekshah shuchir dakshah because we're not pausing at suchihi. We are flowing into dakshaha. So to merge the words shuchihi and dakshaha, the sandhi rule says the halanta disappears and you put a ra on top of the because even palate wise the tongue is at the top of your teeth, the ra. So when there's a the, to make it easy for your palate to flow into the next word, they introduce a ra as a connecting letter. So that's why you say suchir dakshah, so that you don't have to say suchihi dakshah. It sounds broken. So the whole concept of sandhi is actually based on the palate, how to make it a smooth flow. So because you don't, had I been saying the words independently, I would say anapekshah shuchihi dakshah udasinah gatavyatah. See, even udasino gatavyatah. The reason we're saying udasi, there's no word such as udasino. The word is udasinah. But the sandhi rule is when there's a ga as a following letter, the halanta removes and it becomes an